Coach, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
First 15, 20 minutes, was that LAFC just kind of playing their way into the match? Because it seemed like almost a switch flipped after that, and you guys were pretty much out on the front foot for most of the match after that.
No, they're a good team. They're a really good team, and in the beginning, they controlled the game with the ball really well, and we were finding it tough to put a little bit of pressure on them. Then when we won the ball, their counter pressure was very, very good, and we had a tough time getting out of pressure and find ourselves in good spots. And that's the reality of it. So it wasn't nothing that we asked the players or you have to credit how the opponent came on. Then we adjusted something. Once we did that adjustment, that I don't want to be talking about it too much, but once we did that adjustment, it helped us. It helped us deal with their play inside us. We pushed them more wide, and we did better there.
Thank you, Danny. Gracias, coach. Lo hablamos antes del partido, en la previa. Tenía que ser un juego inteligente y sobre todo ganarle al equipo que es favorito para esta Concacaf Champions. ¿Satisfecho con el resultado de hoy?
Satisfecho, claro, porque si me dices que antes del partido iríamos a ganar 3-0 contra un rival tan fuerte, yo claro que stop, pero estamos tan calmos en el vestuario, no viste celebraciones, porque sabemos que es la mitad del partido y sabemos que como te puede decir cómo Cincinnati se sentía antes de ir a jugar con Tigres, o San Diego después de ganar contra Toluca. Hay un segundo partido en México y nosotros no nos olvidamos de eso. Por eso el primer tiempo bueno, pero el segundo tiempo, y sabemos que estamos jugando contra un rival muy fuerte y en México va a ser difícil.
Y de David Martínez, ¿qué opinión? 20 años para jugar como si fuera un crack, literalmente.
Él es un crack. David es crack. David es crack en su calidad técnica, su fuerza, su capacidad de cambiar de dirección con velocidad, pero David no es un crack ainda cuando tiene que lo decir durante 90 minutos, estar concentrado cuando no tenemos la pelota. Entonces, a un lado de David de Champions League, pero te digo Champions League UEFA, y a otro lado de David que ainda necesita trabajo. Y yo hablo así públicamente porque él es un jugador que yo creo mucho en él.
Mark, too here. Obviously, this is aside from MLS play, but adding in the fact that you get another clean sheet, what does that say about just how good Hugo's been in net and the defense as a general in front of him being able to string these clean sheets along in MLS and now in a game like this?
Yeah, we don't think about that too much. What we think about is how we work collectively as a team. We have our principles without the ball that we work on during the week, the ability that we have to defend our box, the ability that we have to close down spaces in critical areas around us. Then the leadership of Hugo. We don't go to games thinking about, we're with clean sheet, we have to keep clean sheet. We go to games thinking about what we have to do as a group collectively.
And you kind of alluded to it, obviously, second leg in Mexico, but today felt like a really big moment. And I know you've been part of many of these in this stadium as part of a coaching staff. But for you personally, being the head coach of this team now, how was today just seeing the atmosphere, seeing the effort your team put forth, and just being at the head of all of that happened today?
The first thing I'm going to say is how LAFC is lucky to have the 32-52. Because you saw a lot of the stadium was blue today. But what makes the difference is because a big part of the stadium is black and how amazing they are. That makes, I'm sure LAFC is aware of that. the people in the organization, how important they are for us. I know they want to win all the time. You know, it's just part of the club. Any coach, anybody that is going to sit here in history to coach this club has to be aware of how the fans, what they want and what they demand, and how they push for the team. Me, I was able to live it so many years as an assistant. So when I did the transition for head coach, for me, it was normal because I knew the demands of the club.
Marc, felicidades por el triunfo de hoy.
Hola.
¿Qué tan contento estás de que no aceptaron un gol aquí
Sí.
de local en una serie tan importante como esta? Y segundo, pues qué tan importante es que cada noche parece que tienes una figura diferente. El partido pasado dijiste que Son fue el mejor jugador. En esta ocasión David Martínez, hay veces es Hugo, hay veces es Boanga. ¿Qué tan importante es eso?
Me alegro mucho que hablas eso, porque ese es el equipo que yo quiero. Me alegro porque tú lo ves, que te recuerdas cuando ganamos aquí contra St. Louis y quien hizo los 2 goles fue Mathieu Choinière. Después ganamos en Houston, Delgado y Eustaquio hizo los goles. Para mí el concepto de equipo es que todos tienen un papel importante y yo no quiero entrenar una equipa que yo dependo de uno o otro jugador, porque si selecciono, si van a la selección, ahí tenemos un problema. Y ese es el concepto de equipo, que todos son importantes y todos tienen una responsabilidad, y eso es lo que me alegro mucho. Es muy importante porque sabemos que si hicimos un gol allá, cuenta para 2 y puede hacer una diferencia. Fue muy importante no conceder un gol.
Thank you. Can you talk about what you saw of your midfield? Choinière, Tillman, combined 3 assists. You know, they were working nonstop. You know,
Who got 3 assists?
no, Choinière and Tillman combined for 3 assists. Choinière
yeah.
had 2 and Timothy had 1.
I didn't know yet.
Yeah.
So
So
watch the game tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. I need a day off, guys. But
the long
it's
passes,
good.
2 of them, they got
Good
long passes.
information,
Yeah, I'm
man.
happy to
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 long passes for 2 of those assists from
Yeah.
deep in the midfield. Just what you got out of your group.
I
midfield.
think that the 3 not only helped us get out of pressure in moments, especially after that 20 minutes that we struggled to get out of pressure. The 3 did a good job, but also what they gave us defensively. Man, they worked so hard, the 3 of them, and it wasn't easy. There was moments of the game that reminded me of the second half at the Coliseum against Miami, where midfielders had to screen the back 4, work a lot in front of the back 4, and we saw it again. So, yeah, it was really important, their role for the team.
And I know you already spoke about David. If you could just in English just express like the kid's ceiling, like what are we talking about here? How
We're talking about what I said is there's a side of his game offensively that reminds me of UEFA Champions League. I think I always tell the kid, sometimes he bothers me because I know he could be here all the time, and he just sometimes relaxes, and you also see that throughout the 90 minutes. And I always tell him, buddy, you could be a millionaire. You know, you could make so much money, but look, good for him. I'm here to help him. I want him to progress. I'm always going to be on him and other sides of the game that I think he needs to grow at. And I'm happy for him. Hey, Steve,
Coach, congratulations on the win.
how are you? You always sit in front.
We talk a lot.
You're the good guy in school, huh?
Glad you say that, Coach. We talk a lot about the goals and the assists from your strikers, David Martinez, Sonny, and Boanga. But could you talk a little bit about the impact that they make defensively in terms of pressing high up the pitch?
No, today it was so hard. Today was so hard for our attackers. So hard. They had to screen the midfield. They had to put pressure on the 3 when Cruz Azul was building with 3. They had to track. I think this was one of the games where I saw the need the most involved defensively. And sometimes it isolated Sonny that he had to be up top alone. But it's part of the game. What I told the guys before the game is to win games like this against an opponent like this, let's be reminded that they won Champions League last year. They won 7 times this competition. They're a big club in Mexico. You cannot win games like that if you don't suffer as a team, and suffer in the good way, suffer with a big heart. I use I don't know if I could say that, but you guys could cut this, but I use like big balls. And our guys today, in big moments, it was that. And sorry, I don't want to offend anything. I'm sharing you what I said in the locker room, but it was that. And it starts with the forwards. Defensively, everybody asks, we'll go the back 4. No, defensively, it starts with the front 3 or the front 4 at sometimes. And they did a fantastic job with that.
Pone huevos. Pone huevos.
No, sorry. I just shared what I said in the locker room. But
Marc, when we saw, I just want to ask you about David Martinez, the second goal, because I think when I was watching it, you're saying, he's going to hit it to Denny, and then he goes into 4 defenders and finishes that. Your reaction for just the courage to go in there?
Again, I would love, don't think that I'm going to do that. Maybe one day in a special occasion, I'll invite all of you to training, but not now. But if you guys would see training, for me, it's normal. I see these plays in training. I see sometimes when a certain exercise of him just going, and he drank a little bit too much, but in these plays that he has space in front of him and he goes, it's fantastic to watch. And he has this quality. David is strong. He seems little, but he's really strong when he has a player behind him and puts his body. But again, he has so much to grow. There's another part of his game that for him to reach the next level, he really has to work on and be more consistent on. Thank you very much. Thank you.